why 1 over 3 plus 1 over 2 is not equal to 2 over 5. Let me write 1 over 3 plus 1 over 2. So I see a method that has been circulating on internet which says you multiply the opposite numbers, right? The number that is in the denominator on the left, you multiply with this number here, which is 3. Then you do the same on the opposite side. You multiply. This is 2. Then you add the results here, which gives us 5, right? Then in the denominator, you multiply these two numbers here, which gives you 6. Okay, so the answer is 5 over 6. So once again, you multiply the opposite numbers here, which is 2, multiply the other opposite numbers here, which is 3, then add the results, you get 5, then multiply the denominators, 3 and 2, which is 6. Okay, but now this is a way of cheating on this kind of problems. But the question is, what really goes on this problem? So remember, we had what? We had 1 over 3 plus 1 over 2. Okay? So what we need to do, we are finding the common denominator of 3 and 2. So let me say lowest common denominator of 3 and 2. So the lowest common denominator is what? Since 3 and 2 are not the same, and these are prime numbers, right? Numbers divisible by 1 and itself, we can just take the product of the two numbers, 2 and 3, gives us 6. Okay, so meaning that 2 and 3 goes into 6 without leaving a remainder. Okay, now you can see that for you to have the denominator here to be 6, you need to multiply 3 by 2. So what I want to do, I want to write 1 over 3 as a fraction which is equivalent to a fraction with a denominator 6, right? So since I need to multiply the denominator by 2 here, I will multiply the numerator by 2 and the denominator by 2. Okay, so remember 2 divided by 2 is 1. So meaning that I have not changed anything. I just multiplied 1 over 3 by 1. Okay, so I do the same here. To get the denominator as 6, I need to multiply it by 3. So I do the same. I multiply the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3. Okay, so here you can see that the denominators are the what? Are the same. So let me write it here. So here I can take the product of the numerator, which is 2, and the denominator, I have 6 here, 3, then I have 6 here. Okay, now since the denominators are the same, we can just add the numerators. So I have 5 divided by 6. So you can see that this and this are the what? Are the same. Okay, let us look at the next example. I have 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4. So let us make 2 over 3 as a fraction with the denominator which is equal to the lowest common denominator. 3 and 4 are not the same, so we take their product. So the lowest common denominator of 3 and 4 is just 12. Okay, so for us to have 12 in the denominator in the first fraction, we need to multiply it by 4. So I write 2 over 3 multiply by 4 over 4, which is just the 1, right? Then plus 3 over 4. I need 12 in the denominator, so I multiply by 3 over 3. Okay, all right, so the numerators multiplies the numerators, right, in the fraction. So 2 multiplied by 4 is 8 divided by 12, then plus 3 by 3 is 9, 4 by 3 is 12. Okay, we can just, now that the denominators are the same, we can just add the numerator. So 8 plus 9 is 17, and everybody divided by 12. Okay, so that is the first method, right? Now, going by the second method, we said 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4, right? So we said the denominators multiply. 3 by 4 is what? Is 12, okay? Then I go on the opposite side here. I multiply. Okay, let me start with the other one. I multiply 3 and, I multiply 2 and 4. I get what? I get 8, then plus, I multiply these ones. I get what? I get 9. Okay, so you can see that this is just the same, right? Okay, so let me see, guys, in the comment section, which method do you like? Method 1 or method 2? All right, guys, so whatever you do in addition is the same when it comes to what? To subtraction. So in the first problem, you have 4 over 5 minus 3 over 5. Here, the denominators are the same, right? So the denominator is common, that is 5. Okay, so you just subtract the what? The numerators. 4 minus 3 divided by 5, and 4 minus 3 is 1 over what? Over 5. Okay, now look at the second one. The second one, you can see that you have 7 over 10 minus 2 over 5. Now, the common denominator between 10 and 5 is what? Is 10, because 5 can go into 10 2 times. Now, the first fraction is 7 over 10, and the second one is 2 over 5. We need 10 in the denominator in the second one. So what do? This is very simple, guys. So I just multiply the numerator by 2 and the denominator by 2 to make it 10, right? Okay, now here we can write this as 7 over 10 minus what? Minus 4 over 10. Now that the denominators are the same, we can just subtract the numerators. So 7 minus 4 is 3, and the denominator is 10. Okay, what about this one? Okay, now this one, let me see. Instead of writing equivalence fraction, guys, I can just use the trick, right, that we have learned. Okay, so here I can write this like over. Let us go ahead and multiply the denominators. 3 multiplied by 7 is 21. Okay, then I take this. So make sure, guys, you start from the first, right? Like that. 1 multiplied by 7 is what? Is 7. Then I do this multiplication. 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. And in the middle here, the sign that is in the middle is the sign that you put here. Okay, so make sure you don't swap, right? 1 multiplied by 7 is 7. Then 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. The sign in the middle is minus. Okay, then 7 minus 3, guys, is what? Is just 4. Then divided by 21. Okay, if you want, you can stop from here, guys. You don't need necessarily have to continue watching, right? But let me show you the equivalence method. So 1 over 3, I'll leave some space here and write 1 over 7. You can see that the common denominator here is what? Is 21. So I need 21 in the denominator here. I multiply the numerator by 7 and the denominator by 7. Here I have 7. I multiply the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3. Okay, so you can see that these things are the same, right? Because in the first one, 1 multiplied by 7 is 7, divided by 3 by 7 is 21, minus in the middle, 1 by 3 is 3, and 7 by 3 is what? Is 21. Then we can just subtract the numerators since the denominators are the same. 7 minus 3 is 4, and the denominator is 21. I need to write 21 here, not 12. Okay, all right, guys, so that's it, right?